What's going on? Vince Rapsardi, unbiasedsportsnetwork.com. In this video, I want to talk about Amed Rosario. So Amed Rosario has gotten off to a terrible start in the 2020 Major League Baseball season, and I'm starting to think he is just not a very good baseball player. You're probably asking, or are you saying that he's not living up to expectation of being the former top prospect that he was, or do you just think he's just not a good player in general? Well, I think he's just not a good player in general. There's been a large enough sample size for me to watch and to look at numbers and say, I just don't think he's a good player, and I don't think he's a starter. He's just worthy of being a starter for the New York Mets. And the reason I say that is because in Major League Baseball these days, you either have to get on base or hit for power in order to be a legitimate starter, unless you're a catcher and your defense is really good. But aside from that, you have to get on base or you have to hit for power. And if you do both, then you're a really good player. But to just be a starter, you got to do either one of those things. And Amed Rosario, almost 1,500 plate appearances in his career, a 302 on base percentage, a 403 slugging percentage, a 4.3 walk percentage. He doesn't get on base, he doesn't have good plate discipline, and he certainly does not hit for power. So what does he offer the Mets offensively? And some people were pointing to last year, second half. Okay, he played really well at the end of the year. Second half, he was hot. And I looked at the splits and a 351 OBP. Okay, that's not bad. A 453 slugging percentage. Okay, that's not bad. A walk rate of around 4%. That's not good. You would hope that someone who was supposed to be a top of the order leadoff type hitter would have a higher walk percentage. But if those are the numbers of someone who was hot and played really well at the end of the year, I'm just not that impressed, right? If that's your hot streak, a 350 OBP and a 450 slugging percentage, it's really not that impressive if that's your hot streak. And so far to start the season, he doesn't have a walk. Not a single walk. A 226 average and on-base percentage, because he doesn't have a walk. So his on-base percentage is 226. His slugging percentage is around 300. He's had a terrible start to the season. Now, the issue I have right now, it's not that he's just not getting hits, right? It's not that, he's just not driving the ball well. He's not putting together good at-bats in general. Like I said, doesn't have a single walk. His swing percentage on pitches outside of the zone, 42%. It's 12th in Major League Baseball, 12th highest in Major League Baseball. So if you're not going to hit for power and you're going to swing at a ton of pitches outside of the zone and not draw walks and not get on base, what do you do well? I mean, it's one thing if you hit 40 home runs a year, but you swing at a ton of pitches outside of the zone. Well, your slugging percentage is probably going to be over 500. You're going to be a good power hitter. So it's okay if you swing at some bad pitches outside of the zone. If you hit 40 home runs, who cares? But when you're supposed to be a leadoff type hitter, which is where the Mets consistently keep placing him in the batting order, you got to lay off pitches outside of the zone, draw walks, and get on base. Or at least find a way to get on base if you're not going to draw as many walks. Like Jeff McNeil's kind of a good example of that. He swings a lot of pitches outside of the zone, but Jeff McNeil still finds a way to get on base and slug over 500 as he did last year. Okay, he's done that before. He's shown that he can be a guy who slugs over 500 over the course of a Major League season. And that's kind of my thing with every other Mets prospect. If you want to say, well, Rosario's young and it's not fair, and it's not fair to judge him yet. All the other Mets prospects that have turned into good players, they showed us something, right? They showed people something where Conforto slugged over 500, or Alonso slugged well over 500 and had a great rookie year. Nimmo got on base at a 400 clip back in 2018. McNeil slugged over 500, high OBP. We've seen those young players stick out in a certain category. Even Dom Smith last year slugged over 500. J.D. Davis got on base and slugged over 500. You saw these players stick out in a particular category where either they slugged over 500 or they got on base at a high clip, where you can say, okay, potential. There's legitimate potential to be a good player in Major League Baseball. But a guy who doesn't draw walks, swings at a ton of pitches outside of the zone, doesn't hit for power, doesn't get on base in general, to make him your starting shortstop, I don't think makes any sense. I just don't think it does. And what I would do is I would bench him. I would make him a utility infielder. Why I would do that is not just because he's struggling, but I would make him earn his opportunities, where he really, truly respects the plate appearance that he would get in limited action. So if he pinch hits, gets an at-bat late in a game, he truly has to appreciate that opportunity and take that at-bat seriously enough where he's not swinging at bad pitches and where maybe he draws a walk, puts together a good at-bat, gets on base. Because he's not doing that. He's just not doing that right now. And if the Mets want him to be a leadoff hitter, which is where they're putting him consistently, what he's doing right now is not working. And it's just not going to work. Not a single walk. He doesn't have a walk. Over 50 plate appearances so far. For a guy who's supposed to be a leadoff hitter, who they want to be a leadoff hitter. Like I said, it's one thing if you're struggling and you're hitting the ball hard and you're hitting it at infielders, outfielders, and you're just not finding spots. I get it. That happens. But when you don't have a single walk and you're swinging at pitches outside of the zone among the highest in Major League Baseball and you don't hit for power, you don't really... I can't help you. That's just not productive. And so far what I've seen from Amed Rosario, I just don't think he's a good baseball player. It's been a large enough sample size, around 1,500 plate appearances. I haven't seen it. And it's the numbers, it's me watching him, I don't see it. So I would go with Andres Gimenez at shortstop moving forward. I would bench Amed Rosario, make him a utility guy, make him earn his opportunities, maybe even a little center field action, which is what they had talked about in the past. But that's kind of how I feel about Amed Rosario at the moment. That's all I got. Vince Rapsardi, unbiasedsportsnetwork.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Vince Rapsardi. I also have another YouTube channel, Big Blue Unbiased, where I talk about the New York Giants. Thanks again for watching. Vince Rapsardi, unbiasedsportsnetwork.com.